Coach John Shire. Check out Field of 68 After Dark.
This is Xavier head coach Sean Miller. I highly encourage you to take a look at After Dark.
Now listen to you guys every morning when I'm getting ready. This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Welcome to the Monday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live, Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports Radio. We're live on YouTube, the Field of 68 channel. Jump in the chat, ask us questions. We'll be answering them during breaks. We'll be answering them during the afters, after midnight, when we let loose just a little bit. We are watching the end of the Baylor-West Virginia game and the Texas Tech game as we speak. We're going to dive into North Carolina's loss to Miami today. We're going to break down some of the fielding, the 68 bracketology that we had, and we're going to get into some of the biggest weekend storylines. My name is Rob Dauster. I have with me Terrence Oglesby. I have with me Tyler Hansbrough. Before we get into tonight's show, I just think we need to acknowledge it. We are aware of what is happening on the Michigan State campus right now. There are not enough details for us to really speak about it intelligently, so we're just going to say our thoughts and prayers are with everybody affected and everybody that has been impacted by the situation on that campus. The most relevant news that we can share regarding the college basketball realm is that the Michigan State game on Wednesday has been postponed. It's their game at home against Minnesota, so that's about all we can share at this point. That's about all that we know. So with that said, Tyler, let's get into it. Your Tar Heels, they look great on Saturday. They beat up on TO's Clemson Tigers, and they turned around. They come out Monday night, and they lose 80-72 to Miami. It felt like they shot about 1 for 37 in the first half. Tyler, what do you make of North Carolina's performance today?
It was a tough one. In a way, it's kind of disappointing because before the show started, I was talking to TO, and I said I have no problem with losing, but the body language and sometimes the effort, when you see that lack, it's very frustrating as somebody who's watched Carolina since they've graduated. But tonight, when I'm actually watching the game, I thought they had awful shot selection. And I've always said when this team shares the ball and they're getting high assists, they can play with anybody. But it just looked like they were going to stand around the perimeter and just try to force feed the ball to Armando. And to me, I think they always play best when they move and push the ball and get Armando kind of in some natural movement to where he can seal or get some rebounds and putbacks. It was just it just seemed like Miami had prepared to load up the paint for Armando, just expecting the ball to go inside. But this was a big one. It's a big loss for us because we have no quad one wins, trying to make a playoff or a tournament resume. And it was a chance for us to get a big one at home. It's very disappointing.
You know, I think one thing we have to do is we have to credit Miami's game plan. I mean, what they did off the ball in order to keep the ball out of Armando's hands was really impressive. They really, 2 passes away, they were in the paint. They had a guy in front and a guy behind. And the interesting one to me was they would bring guys off the bench, and Jordan Miller would sometimes get matched up. And I think what ended up happening was Miami preyed on the fact, and when I say pray, I mean Prey, like they're a hawk. They were preying on the fact that North Carolina doesn't want to give the ball up quickly. They don't want to pop the ball. There was one possession early in the second half. It was like finally somebody did. It was Leaky Black. He was on the left 45, the far corner. The help was all the way in. He skips it. And Armando, because he's getting fronted, he just continues his seal when that thing skipped and they pop it right into him. He gets an easy bucket. The problem is Caleb and RJ aren't doing that. They're not willing to pass it and make that skip pass quick without dribbling the air out of the ball first. So what happens, they load up to the ball side. They get frustrated that they can't give it to them themselves. And then what happens is everybody's loaded up and then they really struggle because then they're driving right into everybody else. So it's like, it comes to a point to where you are, we said this off the air too, you are what you consistently do. Right now, North Carolina's an NIT team. And this is a team that was ranked first in the country coming into the season, and deservedly so. They returned everybody except for Brady Manick from a Final Four team. They still have the talent there, but for some reason, there's glue on that ball when it comes to the guards, and they will not swing. There are no Gretzky assists with this North Carolina team. And Tyler and Rob, you guys know what I'm talking about. But for me to elaborate, there's nobody who's willing to make the pass to get to the assist.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they have to do it themselves. If they pass or they skip pass and then Armando can seal and then they throw it directly in, he can get position. But it's really hard to find spots if you're not willing to let that ball go. And Carolina, right now, they're an NIT team.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point as you talk about that seal. But to me, when I look at the stat, when you go 5 for 31 from the three, teams are just going to load the paint. They're going to let you shoot. And a big reason why we miss a lot of those threes is because of the shot selection. And you talked about just pounding the ball. There is not a lot of good movement. The movement off the ball is pretty bad. If you actually look at the game, it looks just like guys are just standing around the three-point line. And I've said this all along, there's more to the game than just scoring. You can impact the game in different ways. You can get out like the hockey assist you're talking about. We used to track that when I was with the Pacers. That's a big stat. And, being willing to make that pass, to make an extra pass, to lead somebody into an easy bucket, that's important because when I watch the game and I'm always looking, we never get really easy buckets. And that's a big key. Getting easy layups, the highest percentage shot in basketball, uncontested layup, we don't get many of those.
So let me ask you guys this. We've seen what North Carolina's ceiling can be, right? When they play their best, we know what they can do. They can go into Cameron and they can beat a number 1 seed Duke team by 13. They can make a run to the Final Four to the national championship game. They can play like the best team in college basketball. I don't think that it's crazy that they were ranked number 1 of the preseason. I think they have the talent to be that good. So I'll start with you on this one, T.O. One, is it possible to get back to that level? And 2, how can Hubert Davis do this? Like, how can he fix what's wrong with this team right now?
You got to find a way for those guys to give it up early in the possession and then be like, hey, guys, like I want to play fast. And Carolina's always played fast, and they've gone away from this Carolina break, and that's all well and good. But at the same time, like Carolina, a lot of times they have a lot of talent. Like, get that ball up there, have them attack some closeouts and push it. I just don't know that. I mean, what precedent have we had that says he's going to do that? That's the thing that scares me. They can absolutely get to that point to where they're still playing at an elite level because the talent's there. It's just consistency has been a massive issue. And it's great to have tough shot makers. You guys know this. It's great to have Caleb Love, who's a tough shot maker. It's when you need that tough shots at the end of games, when they're close, when you've been playing together the first 38 minutes, you need that tough shot in the last 2 minutes. Look at Duke in the Final Four last year. You need that big shot at the end of the game. You don't necessarily need a hero shot for the first 38 minutes.
I agree with you, T.O. And for me, one thing, I think Pete Nance is really struggling, and I don't think he's made a three, and he's probably 1 for 17 or something the last 4 or 5 games. Puff Johnson comes in off the bench, and he plays really hard. He seems to get easy buckets. He makes winning plays. And that's a guy who I think could play more and maybe bring a little energy and the team feed off of that. I really like Puff. I'm not saying bench Pete. I think Pete can turn around. But I really like the way Puff comes in off the bench. And I think having him play extended minutes or just kind of be somebody willing to make some of those blue-collar plays, dive on the floor, get tough rebounds, I think that really is where it really starts for me. Because I think there's a lot more to scoring. And I think a lot of these guards, especially Caleb, maybe RJ, are putting too much pressure on themselves to score big. And they're living and dying by how many points they have. I think if you just spread the ball, quit worrying about your points, easy buckets will come and then things will start opening up.
You know who I like in that lineup, who they put in for a few games, and I thought, like, hey man, this fits. Like Seth Trimble. I thought when he played with both RJ and Caleb Love, like it added a ball mover. They don't necessarily have a ball mover. And then they played Leaky Black at the 4 with Armando inside. And then all of a sudden, Trimble's taking the ball up the floor and he's bringing it with pace and he's willing to let it go. And then those guys, because that happened, they feel like they're included. They're willing to let it go. And then the ball started moving some more. But when Pete Nance got back, it was like, well, we got to play him. We got to play him. He brings a lot of stuff. You know, maybe you could lighten the load on Armando and play Pete Nance at the 5 a little bit. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's worked. And Pete Nance has played at a place at Northwestern where they move the ball a little bit more. That's where he had success. This year, it's just, it doesn't fit right now. They need somebody to inject some energy by pushing the ball up and letting the ball go first. They don't have that right now.
Yeah, and that's a good point because Jeff, when we were on here last time, he talked about Carolina looked like they were playing AAU ball a little bit. Yeah. But when, you know, if you watch the Virginia game when they played at Virginia and Armando went down, Jalen Washington came in and played unbelievable. And they gave Virginia, they played with Virginia without Armando. And they have some depth, whether, you know, they can get their confidence up enough to play him extended minutes. I don't know, but Seth does add a lot of energy. He gets out and he plays good defense. He gets steals. He makes things happen. So I don't know where they're going to go, but the clock is definitely ticking for sure. They've got to get some quad 1 wins if they want to play in the tournament.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. They'll have 3 opportunities to get quad 1 wins over the course of the rest of the season. They got NC State on the road. They play Virginia at home. And of course, they play Duke in the Dean Dome in the season finale. Now, I want to flip this. I want to talk about the Miami side because they were the ones that won this game. They are now a half game. Yeah, they're a half game out of first place in the ACC. They didn't necessarily have the greatest January. They lost 4 out of 7 at one point there, but Miami's now won 5 in a row, which includes a win at Clemson. Sorry, T.O. They beat Duke at home by 22 points, and now they won at North Carolina. They have a pretty easy schedule down the stretch. Wake Forest at home, Virginia Tech on the road, Florida State at home, Pitt at home. Pitt, of course, is 1 game in front of them right now in the ACC standings. I think this is the best team in the ACC right now, and I think they're the best team suited to make a deep run in March. Tyler, is that crazy? Is that a hot take?
Not at all. And I'm right there with you. They almost made the Final Four last year. And I talked about this. You know, everyone wants to say ACC is a down year. Even last year, you know, we were talking about quad 1s for Carolina, and then all of a sudden we almost split 3 in the 4. You know, Miami was 1 win away. I like Miller, Pack, and Wong. I think Wong is very good. I think he shares the ball. And if they needed him to pick it up and put, you know, a bigger emphasis on scoring, I think he can do it. So yeah, I think they're a potential Final Four team, but the one concern I do have is they don't have a lot of size, and they did a good job on Armando tonight, which I thought Armando might go in there and dominate because Miami doesn't have the size inside. But obviously, I was wrong on that. But that's the one concern I do have.
O'Meara reminds me of Booker. Norchad O'Meara. He reminds me of Booker.
Booker's just a little more athletic than me. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, kind of the same, like strong build, like quick feet, like can get around. I thought, oh wow, Texas Tech just did it. He reminds me of that. But here's the thing: the difference that makes Miami even better, in my opinion, this year than last year, is it's a different guy every now and then. Like Jordan Miller's playing with so much confidence right now. Like it's unbelievable. He's turned another page. We interviewed him earlier in the season, and he was feeling great about things, and he wasn't playing as well as he is now. And then you have another guy like Wooga Poplar, who is developed into a big time, like big time third option on the perimeter. Guy who could step out and shoot it. Harlan Beverly's still trying to find his way, but like Bentley Joseph, they got a guy off the bench that could be a spark plug. They've got players. And you were right about Isaiah Wong. Isaiah Wong's one of the best isolation scorers in college basketball. He just didn't have to do it today because everybody else was doing it. Jordan Miller goes for 24. Nigel Pack, worth the money, 23, shot the ball well, 4 or 6 from beyond the arc, and like just kept attacking and then talked to the front row there at the Dean Dome pretty much the entire second half. Like he was, I mean, they're really good. And the fact that they have so much talent, individual scoring talent with Pack, with Wong, but the fact that they're moving the basketball and it's a different guy seemingly every night, like that changes things for your team.
Yeah, I think that when you have those two guys that can create, right? When you have multiple players that can create kind of when things get bogged down, we don't really have to run offense for them. T.O., this is your favorite thing to say, right? In the tournament, things are going to get messed up. You're going to have
Yeah.
offense that gets shut down. You're going to be well scouted. You need guys that can make a play out of nothing. And now I don't know how many teams have more players that can do something like that than Miami does. And frankly, they're kind of built like what North Carolina was last season. Is that fair? You got 30 seconds, Theo. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I think they're built better than the Miami team was last year. I thought Sam Wardenberg was a good player, but Norchad Omier, like he provides a different thing for them as far as physicality is concerned.
Yeah, Tyler, one of my favorite things to do is to count the number of ways that T.O. pronounces Norchad's last name.
I know. I keep messing out with that. Omier.
Yeah,
Omier.
Yep. Normally we get to double digits. And listen, we'd like to welcome in everybody that was listening to Texas Tech's upset win over Texas here on Sirius XM Channel 84. This is the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live on our YouTube channel as well. Make sure if you're over there, jump in the chat, ask us questions. We are going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, the Big 12, one of the best conferences in college basketball. I'm going to tell you why there's one specific team you need to keep an eye on as a bid thief as we head towards March. Perfect. That was like a B+ tease, right, guys? That was like a B+. We got any questions in the chat, Trevor?
That was good. I accept that. Let's see. We have Ben asking, "Hey Tyler."
C.
Okay. Ben wants to know from Tyler, would UNC missing the tournament be one of the biggest disappointments ever, considering they were ranked preseason number 1?
I would say expectation-wise, absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a preseason number 1 team that's ever missed the tournament. We have a chance to make history.
It's in the wrong way. For the first time in North Carolina history, you're making history in the wrong way. Yeah. It's been a rough one, man.
Good spin zone.
It's like we keep holding out hope for Carolina to be good again. Like it's there. Like we just kind of hope, and then you get a flash in the pan. They score 91 on Clemson, who's not guarding anybody right now.
It takes more than one game.
Yeah, that's right. You are what you consistently do.
Mm-hmm.
So
especially when you're playing a team like Clemson.
30. Stop that shit. What are we talking about? They're good.
We got a lot of tech people in the chat asking to bring Jeff on for a segment.
20.
Yeah, we might need to, man. We might need to. Hey, they're 4-2 since Pop got hurt. 4-2.
And 10.
Just saying.
Coming back. What do you have to say about Pop?
He doesn't like defense. He's very TO oriented. Welcome back,
Jimmy.
It's the Field of 68 After Dark Live, Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports Radio. We are over on our YouTube channel. We are answering questions in the chat every time that we go to break. Remember, we will be live on the afters starting at midnight, answering your questions, hanging out, kicking it for another 15 minutes after the show. Baylor beat up on West Virginia tonight, which means they are currently sitting in a tie for first place in the Big 12 with the Texas Longhorns, because Texas went on the road to Lubbock and lost to Texas Tech, who has now won 4 out of their last 6 games, guys. T.O., you are an honorary resident of the city of Lubbock, Texas. You are, I don't even want to say an honorary Red Raider. I think that you bleed the red and black. So talk to me about your Red Raiders. They picked up a win over number 6 Texas tonight to improve to 14-12 on the season. 3-10 in the Big 12. The final score 74-67. Devion Harmon had 25 points, scored 21 of those in the first half. Talk to me about your Red Raiders.
That's good. They're playing better. They're still 3-10 in conference. I don't know what to tell you. Like, good job, guys. But you gotta win more. The positive about this is that you're playing well, and that Fardaws is back, and he looked comfortable. That helps things. And you have quad 1 opportunities until the cows come home. Like every game's a quad 1. So it's like one of those things. Like you have all the opportunity to get resume wins on a nightly basis in that league. That's the big positive of thing. And now that Fardaws is back, it gives him a post presence. He looks comfortable. He's moving well. That's a good thing. I think, Pop Isaacs, him being gone, You know, if he does or doesn't guard, I think he provides value because he's an emotional guy who can get hot in a hurry. He provides value, but they look fine. That's a tough Texas team they beat today, but that league's a bear, and every single night you have to bring it to the level that they brought it today, and they just haven't this season yet.
Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big win. I really like Texas. I think Texas is a contender. So obviously with Texas Tech and their record in conference, it's really hard to justify giving them too much credit. But this was a big win for them. Obviously, they shot well from the three, lit it up 50%. They only shot 14 of them, though. 92% from the line. Yeah, this is a big win for Texas Tech. I haven't followed them too closely, but this is a quality win.
You haven't needed to until like the last 2 weeks.
That's right. That's the thing too. Like you got to give them credit though. I mean, they followed their scouting report. They played hard. That crowd when it's going is really good. But that crowd hadn't been there, so don't y'all start popping out of the woodworks right now, Texas Tech. You hadn't been there all year. You started disappearing gradually, so you're not fooling anybody. You can't go hot for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden be back on your high horse. So let's just pop that part in there real quick. But they forced Cunningham to shoot 9 shots. That's not what he wants to do. Like they did a nice job following their scout. They generated some momentum at home. Good for them. Good win. You're going to have more opportunities. It can't just be one night.
Yeah, I don't think the issue with this team has ever been talent, and that's the thing that makes them kind of like a sneaky, dangerous team as we head into the Big 12 tournament. It's not an issue of talent. It was an issue of execution. It was an issue of, were they guarding well enough? It was an issue of, were all the pieces bought in and pulling in the same direction? Were they healthy? Right. But if you look at some of the games that they played, they lost by 6 at TCU. They lost by 3 at home to Kansas in a game that questionable call could have gone the other way. If you remember that charge, they could have won that game. They lost in overtime at home to Oklahoma. They lost by 2 at Texas. They lost by 7 at home against Baylor. They lost by 10 at Kansas State in a game that was closer than what that final score would indicate. So it's not like they are all that far away, right? A couple right bounces, and they're probably sitting here at 5-8, maybe 6-7 in the conference. And then you actually have a real chance. But now you're going to have to find a way to win games. This is how they end the season, Tyler. At West Virginia, at Oklahoma, home against TCU, at Kansas, home against Oklahoma State. If you win,
oh my God,
yeah, you win, but you win 4 of those, you get to 7-11 in the league. Iowa State made it as an at-large at 7-11 from the Big 12 last season. I don't think they've done enough of the non-conference to do it, Tyler, but you never know. That's the benefit of playing in the conference like this.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, they're going to have to strike fire here in a little bit, but it is possible. They're going to have their opportunities. That's a good way to look at it. They're going to be able to rack up some quad ones in the toughest conference and make a case. And also the idea is to play your best basketball towards the end of March. That doesn't mean you just throw away the season before, but they're going to have their opportunity. So, if this is going to be the team that everyone thought, they're going to have to win some of these games.
Hey, hold on one second. You said they got to win 4 out of those 5?
I said if you win 4 out of those 5, you get to 7-11 in the league. Iowa State made it from 7-11 in the league last season. So repeat
those. Go through those 5 games again for me.
Oh, I got to go back to the page then.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You have at West Virginia, at Oklahoma, TCU at home, at Kansas, and Oklahoma State at home.
Hey, Rob, that shit ain't happening.
No, I don't think it is.
They're not.
By the way,
they're not winning 4. Hey, they need to win 2 to make the NIT.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Listen,
hey, let's expectations. You win 2 out of the next 5, you get a postseason tournament. How's that?
Yeah, there
go
you go.
Go get him, Lubbock. Go get him. The old T.O. turns heel. Let's go.
Oh man. Oh, here we go. You got him going, Tyler. This was the one thing that we were trying to avoid. The only thing we were trying to avoid. I do want to mention Oklahoma State real quick because they have won 5 in a row. They won at Iowa State on Saturday. They've won 7 out of their last 8 games. And how about this for a stat, boys? With Musa Cisse, who is the reigning Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, with him healthy.
I love that kid.
Yeah, with him healthy, Oklahoma State is, I believe it is 8-1. No, they're 7-1 in the Big 12. And their only loss in that stretch was at Kansas by 2 points. They played Kansas at home. tomorrow night. This team, not only are they a tournament team right now, but they're one of the more dangerous teams that nobody's talking about. I just wanted to throw that out there. All right. Baylor won tonight. They beat West Virginia at home, which means that they are tied for first place in the Big 12 with Texas, who lost. So Tyler, who are you more in on out of those two, right? Are you backing Baylor? Are you backing Texas? Who do you think is more likely to win this league? Who do you think is more dangerous in March? Or is it just one of those things where these are both really damn good basketball teams?
I'm backing Texas. I think Texas is a better team. And that's not a knock against Baylor because I think they're playing really well. They got off to a bad start in the Big 12. But I really like Timmy Allen from Texas. I really like the young kid Mitchell, the athletic big, and their guards for Texas. I think Texas is a contender, but Baylor's starting to be the team a lot of people thought they would be, though.
Yeah,
I like if I'm picking, you went Texas too.
No, I'm just asking you who you'd go with.
Well, Tyler, one thing about this show that Rob will teach you: it's okay to be wrong on this show. Because Rob knocks that out of the park consistently. And I think you're wrong on this one, T. I think you're wrong. I love Baylor. They've got guards, and boy, do they shoot it. Boy, do they shoot it. My man LJ Cryer went bananas today, and Keontae George, he's got a little Caleb Love in him. Like he's gonna try to take over games at the end. He has that ability. And Adam Flagler, he's another guy that was on top 10 shooting guards in the country, whatever award that is. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but he made that list too. I feel like Baylor plus Scott Drew. You have a coach there who's done it. He's won a national championship, and he's done it with rosters similar to this one. They don't defend like a Baylor team has typically defended. However, it has gotten better. But that guard play and their ability to score at such a high level, I mean, that makes them different in my mind. Plus, I just at that point, like I feel like this Baylor team's a team that not enough people are. I feel like that's the team that people are aware that they're there, but they're projected at a 2 line. And that's something that they're just not getting that much attention for a team that's sitting on the 2 line. There's a team that can make a run to the Final Four because of that guard play. That stuff matters in my mind.
You know what they are? They're Whataburger Miami. That's what they are. Baylor and Miami are the exact same thing.
Is that a compliment or a negative? I'm not sure your stance on Whataburger.
I mean, it's really good. How could you have any other stance?
So you think it's a better version of Miami or a fast food version of Miami?
It's
so
like
I don't understand this.
Miami. I'm saying they're the Big 12 version. They're basically the same team.
Okay.
No?
So Whataburger's in the state of Texas. Is that what you're telling me? I've been to Whataburger in Florida. That's a terrible analogy.
It was a great analogy.
It was a horrible analogy.
It was a great analogy. Anyway, listen, they're the same team. Great guards, don't really defend. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said there. I don't know that Miami doesn't defend because they defended today. There was a game plan in place. They defended today. What are their metrics, man? What are their metrics?
They're outside the top 100 on KenPom. Baylor is 79th. Baylor, by the way, they threw that 1-1-3 zone that Scott Drew always loved back in the day before he started playing defense.
I like that. We had to do that a little bit when Keontae George loses a little defensive focus. I don't think that they're like that entire team's a bad defensive team. I feel like sometimes because Keontae's younger, like his focus isn't where it needs to be as a freshman on the defensive end in the Big 12. So if he misses a rotation, a lot of their defensive principles break down. Like you're willing to live with it because he's so freaking talented offensively. So I'm going to argue just for the sake of arguing. That's what I'm doing here. That's what
we do here, Tyler. We just argue for the sake of arguing.
That's why you bring me here.
I'm rolling with Miami. I think Miami's much better than Baylor. The only reason I say that is because I think they're a more veteran team. I think they went to Elite Eight last year. I think Wong is probably a contender for the ACC Player of the Year. He can do more than just score, pass the ball, dish it out. Great leader. So we'll see. I think Miami can score from a lot of different options.
You know what else they have? They're a little bit bigger in the backcourt. Like that's my one worry with Baylor is, LJ Cryer's 6'2", Flagler's 6'2" on a good day. Keontae, how big is Keontae George? 6'4", 6'5"?
6'3.5", 6'3", 6'3.5", 6'4", something like that.
They don't have a ton of size. I do just want to give another shout out. Every time Jonathan Chamwa does something, it's that dude. There was a real chance that he wasn't going to walk again, and tonight he came out almost a year to the day. I think 1 year and 1 day to the day when he had that devastating knee injury. He had 11 points, 3 boards, played 24 minutes. He didn't take a 3 tonight, which was a little bit disappointing. I was all in on the JTT 3-point shooter bandwagon. But listen, Alabama went into Auburn and won. Purdue went into Northwestern and lost, which means that we have a brand new number 1 in college basketball. We're going to talk about whether or not that is the right ranking and all of the other weekend storylines on the other side of this break.
Okay, you guys are good for 1.5.
Trevor, we got a sponsor. Drop it. Tell you guys about our sponsor for today's episode, Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 a few weeks back. When we get in the middle of college hoop season, it can be hard for me to eat and drink as healthy as I probably should be, especially in late February and March when the schedule gets really busy. But I found that I've felt better as I've made AG1 a part of my daily routine. I take AG1 in the afternoons after the coffee is worn off and once the itis post-lunch is kind of set in. And what I found, my energy levels are up. It's improved my digestion. And as a result, I'm not only more efficient and productive in the most important time of the year for me and for the field of 68, but I'm working out more consistently. I just feel better. AG1 is so much more than just a greens powder. It's comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally could not be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix 1 small scoop of the AG1 formula with water, and I drink it every single afternoon. Done. Just like that. I also like that it only costs $3 a day. The price is right. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is the answer. They are giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Free! Just go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's athleticgreens.com/field68. The link is in the description below. Check it out. Support the field of 68 and feel better. Hey, great conversation, guys. Thanks for being there, chat.
Whataburger stinks.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster here. I got Tyler Hansbrough. I got Terrence Oglesby. We are live, Sirius XM, Channel 84. That is College Sports Radio. We're live over on our YouTube channel. Jump in the chat, ask us questions. We will try to answer them whenever we don't have a sponsor. Drop an ad. Shout out to Athletic Greens for supporting us. Look at that. There you go. All right, guys.
That was a real not subtle flex right there. Well done.
Yeah,
I like
little flex. I can't really flex anymore. When I actually flex, I kind of strain a bicep. So I do what I can here. All right. So on Saturday,
I need this t-shirt. Sorry.
on Saturday, Alabama went into Auburn and beat the Tigers. And on Sunday, before the Super Bowl started, Purdue went into Northwestern and lost to the Wildcats, which means we have a brand new number 1 in the world of college basketball. Tyler, I'm going to you first on this one. Alabama, Purdue, Houston, who's the best team in college basketball? Is there a best team in college basketball? Or are we just beating our heads against the wall, arguing for no reason, like there's 3 TOs sitting in a room screaming at each other?
There's no question Alabama's the best team in college basketball. Brandon Miller, he can get you a bucket from anywhere on the court. They're big. I think his name's Bediaka. He can guard anybody, contest everything at the rim. They're playing really well. I know they went to Auburn and just smacked them on their home court, which Auburn's a tough place to play. So that was a quality win. They're running through the SEC. It's hard to make a case against Alabama. Right now, they are the best team in college.
T.O., you agree?
The only case I can make against them is they got smacked at Oklahoma, but then they turned around and beat the brakes off of Vandy. So I just completely removed it from my mind. I agree with you. I think Alabama's the best team in the country. And for a lot of the same reasons you say, Tyler, they play with such pace. Brandon Miller is going to be the best player on the floor. I want to say every night they play, except for when they play Purdue. And the reason I still think he's definitely a better pro than Zach Edey, but But what Zach Edey does at the college level, he's probably a better player at the college level, and his impact at Purdue. But every game they play, Brandon Miller is going to be the best player on the floor, sans Purdue. I think Charles Bediako is the reason that this team's better this year, though. They were doing a lot of the same things offensively last season. They were shooting the ball well. They were passing it. They were moving, all that, but they didn't guard. This year's team's guards, and it's because of Charles Bediako. They can get up in the passing lanes. They have length around the perimeter. They can get out and contest some things. But if mistakes happen, and mistakes do happen, they had a big fella back there, and he's erasing everything. He's a former 5-star kid too. And it wasn't because of offensive ability. It was because that dude eats everything inside of 8 feet. They just have a lot of different guys.
There's one thing I do want to push back on T.O., and it's not just because they're playing defense this year. I think that everyone is more bought in to the whole as opposed to the individual on Alabama. And we don't need to talk about who is not there anymore, but there are names that are not there anymore that you can kind of figure it out and do the math. I think Brandon Miller's bought in. I think Javon Quinley has bought in. I think Mark Sears has bought in. Everyone understands their role. Everyone understands they have a job to do, and everyone understands that they're fighting for the greater good. Let's talk about Purdue really quick.
Hey, can I add on that? Because I'm going to compliment Tyler because I think that's a good. When your best player is also your hardest working and one of your most unselfish, dude, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. Like, that was why Tyler's teams were always so good. He was your hardest worker. He was your toughest dude. And dadgummit, I don't think he had a whole lot of assists, but it wasn't for a lack of trying sometimes. Like, he knew
Wes
his
Miller
role.
called you out, man. Did you see Wes Miller?
I did see that, man. They called me a black hole in college. But
yeah, there's something to be said there, Tyler.
Hey,
like, when your best player
Tyler,
is your toughest.
What Wes Miller said was a guy on his team had 9 assists, and Wes Miller basically said, I never even had 9 assists, and I was passing to Tyler Hansbrough, and you knew when you threw the ball to him, you were never getting it back.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it on Twitter. I hit him up about it. I thought it was funny, but he does have his team playing hard. I forgot the kid that got the 9 assists, but 9 assists in college is really impressive. But I just, I tweeted back at him. I said, I never gave myself a chance at 9 assists to begin with. But no, Wes has his team playing they're playing pretty well right now.
It had to have been DeJulius.
Yeah, that's who it is.
It was. That's who it was.
Julius.
That kid,
that's who it was.
That kid's a stud. I had them the other day.
All right, let's talk about Purdue. They've lost 2 of their last 3. One was by 5 points on the road at Indiana. One was by 6 points on the road at Northwestern. It feels a little bit like there is now a blueprint for how to beat them. Part of it is kind of doubling Edey hard, which is what Northwestern did. Part of it is kind of pressuring up on those guards, getting those freshman guards uncomfortable, which is what Rutgers did. Some of it is all of the above, which is what Indiana did. Tyler, how are you concerned about this Purdue group big picture, or is this just – life on the road in the Big Ten it's going to happen eventually?
Purdue, I've been very consistent saying Purdue's a very good team. But I think Edey's the best player in college this year. He's playing unbelievable. And they have some young kids who've really come along, and I was kind of waiting for them to take some L's a little bit. I thought the wheels might start to rattle a little bit just because of how young the kids are. But, when I look at the game, Northwestern plays very hard defensively. First of all, they forced them to shoot 36% from the field. Purdue had 16 turnovers. I think Edey had 6 of them. So it wasn't like they showed up and played their best game. Northwestern was pretty hungry. They can get out and defend and run. So, yeah, this isn't a total shock to me.
Welsh Ryan Arena is an electric factory, first and foremost.
That's the first time that has ever been said.
It's an electric factory. Ask Kevin Sweeney. I've never heard of a person more proud than our boy Sweeney. I can't remember if it was me, you, and Fanter. It was on this show last week where we were talking about potential teams that could beat Purdue. And I think it was on our podcast, DTF, shameless plug, that good guards and good defensive guards can get up and pressure those young players. Boo Booey's a dude. Like, Jay Saudige is a dude. Like, the 2 of the best, toughest, rugged 1 and 2 combos in the Big Ten. And I say that without any hesitancy. Like, those guys are really good. And when you can push those guards a little bit further out, make them uncomfortable, make them initiate offense from 2 dribbles further out, it makes it harder for them to enter the ball into Zach Edey. And then whenever they are, they're making longer passes so those rotations can get there faster. So not only are they doubling Edey, but they're getting there a half step quicker to double him because those guards are being pressured out. That's what happened against Rutgers too. So that's one of the things that you pressure those guards, you force them out, you make those passes a little bit longer, 3-4 feet. It changes the dynamic of how Edey can attack you because he's not getting as deep and the double's coming quicker and you're making him make decisions a split second faster. I think that's the biggest difference.
Yep.
And Northwestern's good. Northwestern's good.
Northwestern is good. They've won 3 in a row now. They've won 6 of their last 8. They are currently sitting at 18-7 overall. They are 9-5 in the Big Ten. That is a tie for second place. As crazy as it sounds, they're in second place in the Big Ten. Michigan, who is sitting in 9th place in the Big Ten, is 1 game out of second place. It's a chicken pot pie in the middle of that Big Ten, to quote one Terrence Oglesby. But Northwestern right now, they are a 7 seed. If the tournament started today, not only would they be in the tournament, but they would be probably favored in the first round, according to our field of fielding the 68 bracketologists. Our Jeff Goodman was able to catch up with Northwestern head coach Chris Collins a little bit earlier today.
All right, now pleased to be joined other than Northwestern head coach Chris Collins, fresh off the win against Purdue at home. And like, when you look up right now, Chris, if I had told you when we talked in the preseason that you would be tied for second in the Big Ten, what would you have told me?
I would have probably signed the contract, whatever those stipulations were. I did feel we were going to be better than what others thought. I kind of knew what we had coming back. I knew the character in the locker room. I knew the guards. When you have good guards and they're seniors and they play well, it gives you a chance to be competitive. And I just really liked the vibe in the offseason. I didn't know what that was going to mean. We were very unproven on the front line. And a lot of guys who hadn't played, a kid like Brooks Barnheiser who hadn't really played, that were the big unknowns, but that I thought could be good. And then, it just has kind of all come to fruition. It's been a great group to coach. They have really bought into being elite defensively. I mean, that was kind of the first thing, was the player buy-in to like, hey, if we're going to be competitive, we're going to have to guard. And they've really bought into that side of the floor. And I've always felt like defense can unite a team, because to play good defense, it requires all 5 guys to be connected. If one guy isn't doing their job, you're going to get scored on, or you're going to get beat on a rotation. And but I think watching the confidence grow throughout the season in these guys has been really fun, kind of as they've done well and won different games and kind of gone on the road and won in great venues, and kind of see them now like saying, hey, we can compete. That's been really fun to watch.
The coolest part of the win for me, being a father, knowing you for 20 years. Okay. I've known you for 20, this, like right. We've known each other for a long time. Watching you with your son, who's a manager in the team, and both of you get choked up after that win, because again, he understands what this means to you, for the program. What was that like?
Oh, it was special. For me, that's how I grew up. My dad was a coach, and he was on, not in the college level, but the NBA level. So I grew up going to games and understanding, he's coaching Michael Jordan, so the spotlight on that and the pressures that go along with that, and living and dying with every win, every loss. And I don't think people really understand, we all love sports, and it's easy to kind of say good things, bad things, but you don't understand, when it's a family, that's their lives, it's not just a hobby or something, so to go through ups and downs and to have a win like yesterday and people storming the court and first time ever beating, a number 1 team, and him being with us as a manager and kind of sharing that moment, man, to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's just the family aspect of it, and to share it with the people that have been with you through thick and thin, to me is the most special part of all of it.
I was there Selection Sunday when you guys got in years ago. In a way, it feels like yesterday, and in a way, it feels like an eternity ago. What would it mean to you to get back? I mean, you're in great position now, You obviously have to sustain the stretch drive. But what would it mean to you with everything you've been through the last 5 years and the pressure on you this year? There was no secret. I mean, there's pressure on everybody, but there was some pressure on you this year. We knew that. What would it mean to get back to the tournament?
Well, it would mean a lot, just for a lot of reasons. I mean, we did a great job initially, like building a group that got there, and it was historical, and for right or wrong, we weren't able to sustain it. We didn't follow it up the next year. And probably to me, that was my biggest regret, is the job I did with that team, because we had so many pieces coming back, and, not being able to stamp it with that, back-to-back appearances, and then being in a position where we kind of had to hit the reset button. I'm at a place where it's not a quick fix, like you have to get it right with high school recruiting, and you got to find guys that fit what we're doing and fit the academic requirements and fit what Northwestern is, and are also good enough to play against the Michigan States and Indianas and Purdue's and all those things. And so we were in a position where we kind of had to start fresh, and fortunately, the administration, we all kind of understood that. And we said, like, hey, it probably is going to be a little bit of a step back, but we're going to bring in young guys and we're going to play them and hopefully kind of build something like we did with this first group. And that whole group of guys was Boo Buie, Chase Audige, Robbie Barron, Ty Berry, and then obviously guys that we know like Miller Kopp and Pete Nance and Ryan Young, and all those guys became good players. We played them as young players. They got better. We took our lumps. We certainly, and when you're young in this league, it's very hard, and we've gotten a little bit better each year. So to be able to kind of build it, have it kind of go down, and then for all intents and purposes, have to kind of start fresh and rebuild again, to be able to get back to that, moment would be a lot. And I would be so happy, not only for me and the staff and all that, but most importantly for the players, their loyalty to the program. And it's not easy in today's day and age, as to stick through tough times, and that's what this group of guys have. They've stayed loyal to the program. They've stayed loyal to each other. They've kept fighting. They've kept believing. And to see them now get rewarded for that, to me is really special.
Thanks for coming on After Dark.
I appreciate it.
That was entirely too much Jeff Goodman, since we all need to take a quick break and a quick breather after that. A nice little minute and 40 timeout. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk some bracketology, and we're going to talk about who is the biggest high major bid thief in college basketball.
Guys are clear for 1:30.
Chat is out of their minds tonight.
I'm trying to find a
Completely
question that does
minds.
not have something to do with Rob's eyebrows or Jeff's.
What's wrong with my eyebrows? I don't understand what's wrong with my eyebrows. They're connected in the middle. It's not eyebrows, it's eyebrow. It's one of them. Like me and Anthony Davis, man. Me and Anthony Davis, we're beautiful. Sell that t-shirt. Unibrowed beauties.
Let's see. B. Wayne says, since we have an ACC flavor tonight, who will get the double buys for the ACC tournament?
Ooh.
1 minute.
What is that, the top 4 teams? Right?
Yes.
Somebody just said that Hansbrough should have gone to Mizzou.
The buys for me would probably be Miami, Virginia, Pittsburgh.
That fourth one's where it gets sticky now. NC State. Yeah, I roll with NC State. I like that. I think Wake might have a chance. Maybe Duke. Syracuse might be in the mix. Maybe North Carolina could sneak in there. T.O., did I miss anyone? Nope.
The chat needs to calm down, all right? Everybody just needs to. Good Lord.
Clemson's in the mix. They got a tough one Wednesday with a team that Florida State. They've screwed them. They've really fallen so off. Bad. Man. Mm-hmm.
Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark Live, Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports Radio. Rob Dauster here. I got Terrence Oglesby. I have Tyler Hansbrough. We are live over on the YouTube channel, Jump in the chat, ask us questions. In about 8 minutes, we are going to be heading to the afters, which is our Q&A. The only way to get involved is in the YouTube chat, so make sure that you head over there. All right, guys. The latest Fielding the 68 bracketology dropped about 6 hours ago. Kentucky right now was the consensus first team out of the NCAA tournament after the loss to Georgia. Where do you stand, Tio, on this group? Where do you stand on their chances to get into the tournament? And where do you stand on Tyler? We know that we know all of your answers for this one from Saturday night, but where do you stand on the job that Cal has done so far this season?
Are we Tyler? Are we Beckett? Or are we me?
We're to you, Tio. We know Tyler's opinion on these.
Just confirmed. Yeah, I was going to say the only thing good about Kentucky is the bourbon, right, Tyler?
That's absolutely right.
You know what? Like Georgia, give Mike White some credit. Georgia's better. That's a game, Kentucky, though, you need to win. I mean, you got to hand select which transfers you get. Kason Wallace is as good as advertised. It just hasn't led to wins over the last 2 games. It's like you have the reigning national player of the year in Oscar Tshiebwe. Like I get the Arkansas one because they have a lot of talent, but you lost by 15 at Rupp. At Georgia, like that's one you need, and they're projected to lose 4 out of the next 6 out of their last 6. That can't happen if you're Kentucky. Like you need to rattle off. You need to win at Mississippi State. Needs to happen. You need to compete again with Tennessee at home, which Tennessee's reeling. That's a quality opportunity for a quad 1 if you're Kentucky. And then at Florida, need to win. Like these opportunities are running dry, guys. And, has it been a great season at Kentucky? No, we thought they righted the ship, though, there for a minute. Over these last 2 games, though, they kind of got to get it going again.
Yeah, it's so many of their games are fine in isolation, right? Look, you're going to throw up a stinker at Missouri. Okay, I get it. That happens. You're going to have a tough one at home against Arkansas. Okay, I get it. That happens. You're going to lose at Georgia. Okay, I get it. That happens. But to have all of that happen in a year where, oh, by the way, you also lost to South Carolina, where you also got smacked by Gonzaga, where you also got smacked by UCLA, where you got smacked at home by Kansas. Like, at some point, you have to look at the totality of it and just kind of say, maybe they're just not very good, T.
I agree. I think they're disconnected defensively too. And when they got smacked around by Kansas, they could not guard a ball screen. They just picked and rolled them to death, and they had their roller going right down. They didn't have any help side. They didn't have any help the helper on defense. And to me, it's just like they're not connected. They don't trust each other. And like I've said this on here multiple times. They're not consistently a good 3-point shooting team. I don't care what the analytics say. I don't care percentage-wise that they're at the top in the SEC. If they were a good 3-point shooting team, Tshiebwe would have many more opportunities to score around the basket. Defenses wouldn't be packing it inside and be able to contain him like they do. So that's just my take. I've always been consistent on it.
Yep. Tio, I want to ask you about Tennessee since you are a Tennessee guy. They did not have a great week. They lost 2 games on buzzer beaters. One of them was on the road. One of them was at home to a pretty good, not great, a pretty good Missouri team. They dropped from a 2 seed to a 3 seed, according to Fielding the 68. How concerned are you about this group? Is this something where you've now come over to the right side of the bandwagon? You realize that this is like a Sweet 16 team and not really a threat to make a deep run of the tournament. Are you still defending your Vols since Clemson is kind of, falling off the rails for you?
Jeez. The subtle jabs are unending here at the Field. Now there were some weird substitution patterns towards the end of that Mizzou game. Like Toby Awaka, who's a freshman who's good at what he does, but he's an energy guy. He's an undersized 5-man that really plays hard. Why is he in the game at the end of the game? He's a 48% free throw shooter. Like Julian Phillips gets hurt in the first 10 minutes of the game. He had a hip thing that was going on. He only had 1 shot in that 10 minutes. Like what they haven't done throughout the course of the year is going to come back and bite him, and that's get Julian Phillips comfortable on the offensive end. It's going to kill him. That's just what's going to happen. It's going to kill him. I don't have much else to say.
Yep, you've made those points over and over again. All right,
Yeah,
I want to talk about
at some point, but like you got to call a rock a rock. I can't make up another problem. Like I could probably make up another problem. My wife's good at that.
I got nothing else. I got
like
on
if she wants to make up another
Day,
problem, she sees me sitting. Hey, look,
on Valentine's
there's
Day,
nothing that'll
unbelievable.
There's nothing that'll make more problems happen than me sitting still looking comfortable. Let me just promise you that right there.
All right, we got about 3 minutes until we're done with the series here, and I promise this. I tease this multiple times. I want to know your high major bid thief. I want to know the team that is not currently not even in the bubble picture, not a first 4 out, not a next 4 out. Somebody kind of off the radar that you think has the talent and the ability to make a run in March. T.O., I texted you guys about this maybe 2 hours ago, and you've been hyping up this pick that you have. I cannot wait to hear it. Who is your high major bid thief?
Stanford has won 6 out of their last 8 with a big win over Arizona at home. And Harrison Ingram is the kind of player that can go on a magical run during the tournament and just put everybody on notice. He was a top 15 kid. He's super talented. There's a couple of pieces and role players around him, but he's the kind of guy that can carry a team. And he displayed as much winning at Arizona. Stanford could make it happen. And then out of nowhere, win the Pac-12 tournament and get into the tournament.
Tyler, please tell me you have something better than that.
No, I would love to
good?
see that. I played for Jared Hass at UNC, so that would be great. I don't have anything better. I would love to see that. If I'm going to throw somebody out there, maybe Western Kentucky. Part of the reason because I'm here in Bowling Green, Kentucky right now, but they have a center, 7'5", can do some things, guard the rim, but maybe that's just, trying to pull something out of the hat.
So I love Texas Tech. I think they can make a run. The other one that I have, Michigan. Hunter Dickinson always finds a way to show up.
And that's the field of 68 after dark.
Hunter Dickinson shows up, man. Like, when he's not bored, when he's actually engaged, he shows up, and we've seen them go from the 11th seed to the Sweet 16 before. So I can see that happening. You think that's crazy?
Yeah.
Part of the reason because Carolina destroyed them, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think
get smacked around by Carolina. They can't be that good, huh?
Hey, Stanford could do it. I'm telling you.
Stanford
I'll give you this. All right, so I don't think they're going to do it, but we're speaking.
No, I hear
hypotheticals.
They shot 61% from the floor, 55% from 3 against Arizona. That's a big win, and you're right. They've won 6 out of their last 8. I'll tell you, Stanford Steve would love to hear you say that. Listen, this has been the Field of 68 After Dark. You can catch us over in the afters on the YouTube channel Field of 68. For Tyler Hansbrough, for Terrence Oglesby, my name is Rob Dauster. We will see you guys again tomorrow night.
Okay, we're clear.
Well done, Jimmy.
Right, fucking Western
Jimmy.
Good
job, Wendy. Jimmy. You got me all messed up. I'm out of it.
This is
man.
a wild situation, man.
I'm out of it. I'm just amazed that my voice was able to make it through the entire show. I'm dying over here. I've had like 6 cups of tea today. I'm struggling.
Oh, how are you going to make it? All that tea.
I know,
Jesus
right?
Christ, that's the softest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, I can't finish the show. I had too much tea.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, pal.
And with that, Jimmy's out.
Jimmy's like, dude, I
Jimmy's
can't
like,
deal
fuck
with this.
these guys. I gotta go. What do we got, Trevor?
Josh was like, oh, my chamomile.
I don't even know what to say. All right.
Fucking kidding me.
Let's see here.
You're right over there, Tio. You're awful.
I'm good.
You're awful.
I am tired. I'm tired. I had 3 games in 4 nights. I'm tired.
Oh, I actually have work to do now. Oh, look at me. I'm so exhausted. My life is so hard. I have to go watch basketball games for a living. It's tough.
It's not that. It's the it's having to wake up in Wichita at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Doodah
there.
Diner. Poof, I don't know if you've heard about that place.
Yeah, that's the spot, right?
Oh my God. They brought out like French toast that was like coconut fried. It was like
Hey, well, someone in the chat just said, someone tell Terrence Oglesby to go to sleep. He has a game to ref tomorrow.
Yeah. I do get cussed out like every other week on Instagram.
All right.
I had one
Trevor,
guy say,
what do we got?
stop officiating and keep to your commenting because you blew that call on Sheboy. I was like, really? Like, yeah.
Okay. If a team not named Purdue is going to win the Big Ten, who are you picking? That's from Ben.
The Big Ten regular season?
Yes, Big Ten regular season title.
No one.
That's not.
Well, we did a 30-minute interview with Chris Collins earlier, so we might as well pick Northwestern, right?
No, it's gonna be Purdue. I don't think
Purdue will win
it,
but Indiana. Well, I mean, what are we talking about in the tournament? Like in the
regular season. I guess it could be Indiana because they still play Purdue, but they have to go into Purdue and beat Purdue, and then hope that somebody else beats Purdue, and then also beat Illinois at home and win at Michigan State and beat Iowa. I don't see it happening.
Illinois also plays
young guards, man. It can snowball. Like young guards, it can snowball on you. Hey, Trevor, have you made them give Illinois credit yet? Just out of curiosity.
In general?
In general.
No.
Like, where's the credit for the
should.
Illini?
Exactly, T.O. Thank you.
I'm saying.
T.O.'s on my side.
Give the Illini a ton of credit.
Well, you didn't just pick them in the question I asked.
Because they don't play Purdue again.
Yes, they do. They haven't played them yet.
Oh.
It's Illinois at Purdue on the final night of the season. They only play once.
That was actually Trevor's question. It wasn't from the chat. It was Trevor's question.
Oh, he just wanted us to talk about Indiana. All right, go ahead, Trevor. What else we got?
Aaron says, which team in the country has the best bench unit that can help them for a deep run in March?
Say that again.
Do you want a deep bench?
Aaron wants to know
in
who has the
March?
deepest bench in the country.
I don't think you want a deep bench. You basically want like 7 guys, right?
I would agree
with you. You play your good players. You tighten up your rotations in March. A bench maybe if somebody gets hurt.
I think 8 players, but you only play 7 of them. But that 8th one, like you could rely on. Like I think the fact that Carolina played 6/7 players last year is why they kind of ran out of juice in that last half. Do you agree with that, Tyler?
100%. We also had some injuries, and
That's true. Well, I think, but I also think those injuries were part of the fatigue.
Yeah, well, injuries happen when you just play, 6-7 guys the whole year. The idea is to keep your core healthy to where when you get to March, you can play those 7-8 guys that you have that you really trust more minutes.
Isn't that a Roy Williams thing? Like, wouldn't he just kind of not really practice all that hard and play a lot of guys just to kind of keep everyone healthy for March?
I think maybe after his second championship, but he got a little. But no, not when I was there. The thing I really liked about Coach Williams is you gave the tired signal. You can come out and you can put yourself right back in unless he pulled you out.
So you could hop out real quick and then
the tired signal's fist up, and they tell them you're tired. But some coaches are like, they get mad at you if you tell them you're tired, like you're out of shape. But you're just being honest. You come and give the tired signal and get back in.
And who would regulate that? So, like, if you guys would take off in transition,
you just throw your hand up. An assistant coach would see it, and I knew if I made a mistake and coach was about to take me out, I'd try to give the tired signal.
So you were gaming the system. You were gaming the system.
Freshman year and senior year, he was on me. Yeah, he was on me pretty hard.
Why do you think he was on you your senior year? Like he was
just pressure to win it. I think so.
That makes sense. That's interesting. You guys were deep, though.
We were real deep.
Yeah, there was a different level of deep whenever you guys were. I mean, you guys were 9 guys.
And we had Tyler Zeller, too. People don't realize that. Ed Davis.
Yeah. I remember.
Will says, with Kansas State's recent losses, do you think there's an opening for Coach of the Year? And if so, for who?
I think it's been Matt Painter.
I agree with you. I didn't think it was Tang anyways. I thought it was Painter.
Terrence? Mr. Oglesby? Can we give my man Randy Bennett some love? St. Mary's. I mean, he's been good for so long, and like now people finally starting to realize like what he's done.
It's a good call. I like that.
They're the best team in the West Coast Conference.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that, T.O.
Thank you.
It's a lot better than your Stanford pick.
Stanford. Hey, you want to watch that shit happen, and you will never hear the end of it. It's kind of like picking Miami to the Elite Eight. That happened.
No, you have too much sleep to be able to. If you came onto the show having not slept last night, then I would say yes. Okay, you know what? I'm going to bet it all on Stanford.
I did get like 6 hours. So like
yeah, you're too well rested.
Yeah.
I think we may have asked this, but I don't remember if it was with you guys. Sky says, would you rather be a 1 seed in a not favorable location or a 2 seed but close to home?
We did answer this.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I didn't know who we had on.
No, that was a couple nights ago. I'd rather be a 2 seed closer to home. Because then, like, for example, like if you're on East Coast time, you have to go play in Arbitrary City, Portland. You're traveling 4 time zones over. You play Friday, Sunday, or you play Thursday, Saturday. You have to turn around. You have to fly 4 time zones back over, and then travel to wherever the heck you're going next.
A lot of those guys won't fly back. Like when the 2
we
years
flew back whenever I was on staff and we made the Sweet 16 at Clemson.
Talking about San Diego, I was on here with you. I took the second seat, stay close to home. Your fan base can travel too.
Yeah.
I think it's the fan base more than anything.
Yeah, fan base didn't travel so much, but I'm thinking more so time zone, sleep. Like I always had a huge emphasis on sleep. Like when I was a player, like I always like the night before the game, like I really tried to sleep 8 to 9 hours.
It's the travel and back stuff that would
that's what I'm
me
saying
up the most, right? Like you get back. If you're doing a 9 o'clock tip, right, and let's say it doesn't actually start until like 9:15, and the game doesn't end until 11:30, and you got to do all your media stuff, that doesn't end until midnight, maybe 12:30. Then you got to get to the plane. That'll take you until 1 o'clock. The plane doesn't take off until what, like 1:30 and 2 or 2. If you got a 3-hour flight, you're getting home at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Is that right? Is that math right there?
Oh yeah,
that's about right.
That you lose the whole next day.
Dude, I'll never forget. So we're going to the NCAA. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but fuck it. So we're going.
That's how you know it's going to be a good story.
Dude, we make the tournament my freshman year, Tyler. It's the first time Clemson's been at the tournament since I think, it was a Barnes was there or something. It's been a while. We make the tournament. Purnell is like on one, crazy, like ready to go. He doesn't like our focus. So we get going. We have practice at home before we take off to Tampa. So we have practice at home. An hour and 45 minutes into practice, Purnell gets pissed, kicks everybody out of practice. But we still have to fly down to Tampa. So as soon as we get to Tampa, we practice at Tampa U for another 2 hours, do the whole freaking practice again because he's like ready. He's chomping at the bit because he's never won a tournament game. And so we get down there, we go, and then we practice there. So the next day, you're not playing the game. You get there 2 days early. We had walk through in the morning. So we had like a 9 to 10:30 in the morning thing where you go, you shoot free throws, you walk through things, you go back, you eat something. We had media practice, which for you guys was like a dunk contest and like some shooting because I remember seeing your guys' stuff.
Yeah.
Purnell liked to practice in front of people. So like we're out there practicing, like full court pressure, going through what the other team's going to do. We're 100% full go.
It's Patino.
So, yeah, that's another hour. So after that, he wants to go over person. He's not like we go back to practice again at Tampa University again that night. So keep in mind, 48 hours, 5 practices. Next day, we play the game. We're playing Villanova. And that morning, you have your media shoot around. We didn't go hard, but we went hard enough to where like it felt it. And then
he wanted to do some things away from the cameras. So we went to Tampa again, 7 practices or shoot-arounds within, gosh, what is that, about 36 to 48 hours prior to the game. And then we got up 20 in the first half and just ran out of gas. Just completely ran out of gas. It was the craziest thing. I remember, plus you remember like the media and everything, the scrutiny is just crazy.
Exhausting.
Like, the media itself is exhausting.
Yeah.
So like, I just remember like, by the time that game was over, everybody was so tired. And then like, obviously guys are tearing up and all that stuff because, you know, the seniors are there and all that, but like we were exhausted. So people are always asking me like, what happened? That's what happened.
It's sleep.
I remember the year that UNC won it in 2017. We were in one of the media breakout rooms. Tyler, I don't know if they had this when you made it there, but you would do the press conference up on the stage, right? And then they would break out all the starters into their own little room, and media would be able to go talk to them. And we were in there talking to Justin Jackson, and I think that won 2017. I want to say, where was that?
Pretty sure that was Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix. And so Justin Jackson's family had made the trip out, and everyone was like, so you had a chance to talk to your family at all? He's like, no, I'm spending all my time with you guys. Completely deadpan. I just looked at us and we're all like, sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot of media coverage, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
He's a good kid. I'm surprised it came off that way.
He was making a joke, but it was just kind of like the way that he said it, like completely deadpan, was just kind of like, oh shit, yeah, my bad, dude.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, Trevor, what do we got?
Well, we got Yuli. Shout out to Yuli in the chat. He wants to know your guys' take on Butler Villanova tomorrow, and it's also his dad Rami's birthday, so I have to give him a shout out. Happy birthday to Yuli's dad. And what are your thoughts on Butler?
Yeah, all Villanova.
Okay.
All Villanova. But shout out, what's Yuli's dad's name?
Rami.
Happy birthday, Rami. Tell him to get in the chat. He's not really living up to the Yuli, is it Bernstein? Is that Yuli's last name? The Bernstein name, until he's just trolling our chat.
Yuli's dad is asleep. I guarantee it. Happy birthday, Yuli's dad. Rami, enjoy your birthday, sir.
Enjoy your birthday, sir.
Jared wants to know what you guys thought of the Duke call and if they're still going to make the tournament.
Well, Duke's going to make the tournament, but I thought that I don't think that it matters whether or not there was actually a foul on the play itself, because the foul was called, and it was very clearly called with time still left on the clock, right? So
it wasn't the fact that they didn't call it; it was the execution of what occurred because of the foul.
I can tell you pretty much. So this is what happened. I talked to someone that was at the game, right? A source on that was on one of the benches, and he said basically what happened was the officials called the foul. They went to the monitor and basically to review, like, did it happen before the time expired? And he said the guy that called the foul, you could see him watch the replay, see it was clean, and it was just one of those things where his face dropped.
Oh my God!
From being like, I knew it was right, and then he was like, oh shit, I might have gotten this wrong, because they're playing it on the big screen at JPJ, and the crowd, there's 13,000 people there going absolutely nuts, screaming at him. So I'm pretty sure, I don't even know if I want to say this is, but if I had to bet, what happened was that they saw the replay, thought that they got it wrong, and they came up with some bullshit reason
that's crap
to not have it shoot. That's my guess is what actually happened. Now,
that's correct.
What actually went through those guys' heads, you have to ask them what went through their heads. But the ACC put out a statement that said that what they did was wrong. So my guess is that they saw the replay, changed their minds, thought they got it wrong, came up with some excuse to not have it go through. So that's my issue. It doesn't matter whether or not there was actually a foul in the play. A foul was called. It was a legal foul that was called, and free throw should have been shot.
Tio, you think it was a foul?
If from the angle where you're watching television, I thought it was a foul.
I thought it was a foul too. I'm still unclear on the rule. So if the time has expired, but the ball is still in flight, he can get fouled with no time on the clock, and it's still a foul, right?
As long as he releases it. Like if the shot goes up and the shot's going to count, if you get fouled after you release the shot, but the buzzer has already gone off, then it's still a foul.
Yeah. I didn't know that
example,
rule.
like the cylinder rule. If a guy shoots a 3, the ball's let go, buzzer goes off, it's midway through flight, and somebody doesn't let him land, even though the buzzer went off, it can still be a foul because it was part of the shot that went before. Is that a good way to explain that?
Yeah. My other question is, if a guy jumps, how is the ball not in flight? So what I'm saying is, he goes up for a shot like that. Is the ball in flight there when he takes his jump for a jump shot? How is that not a ball in flight?
No, I think it has to be like if the shot is going to count. If you shoot,
does it say released?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay.
Or if like the foul, or if you don't release it in time, but the foul happens, but there's time still on the clock. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Either way, whatever happens is that Duke should have been shooting free throws, and the referees got that one wrong. And I think that my guess is what happened is they saw the replay and they found a way to change their minds and make it sound like it was legal.
Man.
Let me ask you guys this. It was a brutal situation. And I think John did his interview today. He was like, "Man, I'm still pissed." Like that would have been a huge road win.
He should have been losing his mind.
Yeah, Kay would have definitely. I can't imagine what would happen if they did that to Kay.
What's scary if you're an official? 13,000 UVA fans screaming at you, or Coach K staring at you?
Coach K, no question. Are you kidding me? Coach K could have one of those refs pulled, guarantee it.
Hey, what's your relationship like with him, Tyler?
I don't know Coach K that well. I like Coach K actually, but no, I don't really know him all that well.
Trevor, we got anything else?
Nope. Let's go to toast.
All right, T.O., go ahead.
How about the people of Lubbock?
To you, after I dogged your team there, I mean, you got more work to do. But that being said, you win against those terrible people of Austin. You got your win. Toast to you guys.
You're doing everything you can to get back in their good graces.
You deserve a win, Lubbock.
I see through it.
It is a tough journey right now for the people of Lubbock. You deserve it. It's been a tough year. Cheers to you.
Cheers. Tyler, what do you got?
I'm going to go out to, and this is going to be a little weird, but I'm going to give it to Miami. I really like Isaiah Wong and the way he plays. I know they beat my Tar Heels tonight, but I respect that. I think the team's playing really well, so they're a fun group to watch.
That's big of you, Tyler. That's big of you.
That is. So I haven't actually been on a show since Jonathan Chanwa-Chachua has played. So my toast is going to go out to JTT, going to go out to the guy that there was a time when they didn't think he was going to be able to walk again. And here it is, less than a year later, and he's come back and he's playing at 11 points tonight, 3 boards. I think that he kind of changes what this Baylor team could be. Great to see it. Great kid, great ambassador for the sport. So for Terrence Oglesby, for Tyler Hansbrough, my name is Rob Dauster. For producer Trevor, can never forget producer Trevor. Field of 68 After Dark. See